I'm now going to make a replacement handle for this space heater. This space heater was bought for a project and I picked it up one day and the front of the handle broke. I picked it up the day after and the handle fell off completely. Obviously we could repair the handle, but it's a piece of junk, so that is going in the recycling bin. Instead we're going to make a new handle from a piece of 25mm by 3mm flat bar. I've already cut the bar to the approximate length already. The first thing we need to do is take a measurement between the two screws on the top where the handle goes, and that is approximately 161mm from centre to centre. So if I come to our steel bar and measure it, it's approximately 300mm long. Normally I would use a scribe when marking out metal, but so that you can see it, I'm going to use a marker. This is a fine tip permanent marker. So firstly we need to mark the centre of the bar, and as it's 300mm long we need to mark it at 150. So that is the centre. So we're just going to mark that with the square. I'm going to make the gap in the centre where your hand goes 120mm wide. So from that centre mark, I'm going to mark 60mm to each side. Then I'm going to draw a line in there. And then I'm going to make the depth of the handle 40mm, so I'm going to draw another line in at 40mm away from that. So we've got 5 marks on here, and these 4 outer marks are the ones where we need to bend the metal. So I'm going to start off by positioning that in the vise, and I'm going to get the line exactly aligned flush with the top of the vise jaws. Now all we need to do is bend that piece of metal. So I'm just going to push on it and that should bend it. If you're struggling doing this, you can always hit it using an hammer. It's getting a bit hard now, so I'm just going to give it a gentle tap with the hammer. Once you've bent it, you can check it using a square to make sure it is roughly 90 degrees. I'm now going to turn it upside down, and again I'm going to align the mark directly with the top of the vise jaws. Just going to tighten that up, and then again I'm going to bend it. Now we've got the basic shape of the handle, we now just need to bend these 2 bits out at the bottom. So again I'm going to align the mark with the top of the vise jaws, and then I'm going to bend the metal this way. When you bend this part, it's important that you don't start bending the 2 bends that you've already put in. So I'm going to grab it the best I can and pull it down so that we get a decent bend on it. You can also make this a lot easier by heating up the metal, but this is only thin metal, so we shouldn't really need to heat it. We now just need to bend this part up to create the handle. So again, I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling on the piece at the bottom there that I want to bend. We've got a basic handle shape now. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but it is very difficult when you're bending metal in a vise. So if we just turn it over now, and if we mark the 161mm centre, using the marker pen, we can now drill through that using a suitable drill. Before we drill it, I'm just going to put it on the anvil at the back of the vise there, and I'm just going to centre punch it. The same on the other side. The screws that fix the handle to the space heater are that big, so I've chosen a drill bit that is smaller than the head on the screw. So we can now check that the holes line up, and the holes we've just drilled, and they line up perfectly. So now we can mark these pieces and we can cut those a little bit shorter. Now put that in the vise. I'm now just going to cut it off straight using the hacksaw. I've now put the handle in the vise, and I'm now going to round off this edge using a flat disc and the cordless angle grinder. We now just need to clean that up using some methylated spirits, and then we can give it a coat of primer, and then we can give it a top coat, and then we can fit it to the space heater. We can now take the handle and we can now fix it to the space heater. And you can guarantee that that handle will not snap off.